Hello, this is Wolfie from Two Ton Studios here, just kind of giving you another little tutorial here. What we're going to do this time is going to be drilling and pinning, and we're also going to pin a model down to a base. So first of all, I've just got some brass rod here that I pin with. Some people prefer to use paper clips. I prefer to use brass rod. It's kind of one of those preference things like I was talking about in the last video that I shot. Also, I've got some random cut-or models here that I'm going to be drilling and pinning on today. Nothing too big, kind of keeping it simple. Working on my officer and standard for my winter guard. Got my pin vise here. I'm going to use a really small drill because I'm working on small models. And I've also got super glue clippers, kind of the standard modeling equipment you see on most hobby tables. So what we're going to actually start off with is we're going to drill a hole in the foot of a guy that we're going to pin down to a base. So I figured I'd start with something super simple here. You just take your model, figure out which foot you're going to drill into. I would recommend picking the foot that's got the most material between the bottom of the foot and, up towards the leg. So try and drill into this area here. You don't want to drill too far forward because you don't want to drill through the foot, so be very careful about that. So just line up, start drilling. Nothing difficult here, just drill a hole. When using drill bits this small in a pin vise, be careful to not snap the drill bit. They're very fragile. I know I've snapped more than my fair share in the short time that I've been doing this. Just drill a hole part way in, just about like so. And I always clean off my drill bit, and that way I can keep it from binding up, because if it gets too much material bound up into it, it'll bind up and not want to drill any further. Come out here. Set my drill aside. And take our brass rod and just a regular cyanoacrylate super glue. Get a little bit on the end of the wire here and insert that into the foot. Give that a second to dry. And then come back with a pair of clippers. I always support the wire because I have a bad habit of launching the piece of wire across the room while I'm working. Just set that aside. And I always, try and clip off where I've got a good length of wire sticking out. And I'm going to take one of the bases that I made. You should recognize this style of base from in my last video where I showed you how to use the green stuff to make rocks. And figure out roughly, kind of get an idea of general area of where you're going to put the model's feet. You don't want them too far out there. Kind of small indentation here. And then just drill into the base. And then back out. Kind of clean off the material. And I just kind of widen out the hole a little bit. That way the model just drops down into it. And then take the model, take your glue. Just a little bit of glue on the bottom of the feet. And just a little bit on the end of the wire here. So that way it forces glue down into the hole. And just line things up. Get your guy positioned. And just hold him in place for a second, let him dry. So that's it for that part. Now I'm going to show you how I pin models. I'm going to use my standard because it's a little bit bigger area to work with here. So you gotta drill the hole in the shoulder, on the body, and on the arm, and then he'll fit together roughly about like so. Nothing. Get my fat fingers out of the way here. It's gonna fit together about like that. So what we're gonna do is same drill bit. And this model actually comes with a little bit of a nub, a little bit of a bump there. I clean that off. That way I've got a nice flat surface to drill into, which I've already done that before I started here. Just like last time, just drill into the body. Clean off some of that excess material there. Okay, and then take the shoulder with the arm and the flag here. This is where you got to be very careful, not drill too deep. You don't want to drill all the way through. So be very, very careful when you're drilling and pinning this part. Here, kind of change the angle I'm working here so you can see a little bit better. Also, when you're doing this, don't apply too much pressure to the drill onto the drill bit or onto the piece that you're drilling into, because you can that can also snap the drill bit off. So those things, be very, very careful. That should be about deep enough. And take our wire and just a little dot of glue. I'm going to insert this into the body first, and then I'll attach the arm. You may prefer to go the other way. That's whatever works easiest for you as the modeler. Don't by no means do this one way and say I told you to do it that way. This just works best for me. And then just trim that down a little bit. Now I always trim off a little bit long to start with. That way I can dry fit, kind of figure out if I need to trim off any more or not. Sometimes I have to trim off a little bit more, sometimes I don't. And it looks like I got it pretty good this time, so I'm going to take and put a little bit of glue on the body here. And then insert tab A into slot B, just like so. Hold it for a few seconds, let it dry. You can also use accelerant for this. I try not to use the accelerator unless I absolutely have to, because the accelerator can make the glue a little bit more brittle and cause the pieces to want to break if you accidentally drop them. So if you do use it, be very, very, use it very sparingly and be very careful. I try not to unless I have a piece that's being just absolutely stubborn and not wanting to stay together. So again, this is Wolfie. Thanks for paying attention, watching this video. If you have any questions, contact me at twotonstudios@gmail.com, and be sure to check out my website, twotonstudio.blogspot.com. Thank you.